Hello and welcome to American Truck Simulator. I've been waiting for this for some time. It's been out for a while now, and I've played quite a fair bit of it. But yeah, I've been really looking forward to this game. I don't think it's totally finished yet because we've only got, say, 2 states, which only actually requires 3 levels out of the 6 in long distance to get a mission from one end of the map to the other. But there is more map coming. We've got Arizona coming shortly, and they actually given us a little preview of that on one of the videos on the Steam page. I think I've got a couple of screenshots. Here's one. He's taken a job there. He's taken it to Tucson. You see, it disappears off the main map. And then if we move, I've got another screenshot which shows a little bit more of some of the cities. And there's still a lot more road off to the right, and with actually no cities there, so it's obviously unfinished. But that video's been up there for a while, so I'm normally late to the party, so that's probably well been spotted by now. It's not something exclusive or anything. I just happened to be looking through just recently. Well, actually, I think when I bought the game, I was just when it was downloading, I was watching the videos. So what we'll do is we'll take a quick job. It's just round the corner as well. It looks very smart. Well, it's running off the Euro Trucks 2 game engine, so all the gameplay's there. It's just I think some of the content that still needs to be added. I mean, Arizona will be a free DLC, but they've got to add more because obviously when you get to that 6 skills, that should take you from one end of the map generally to the other, and they're not even halfway there yet. So hopefully we've got a fair bit to come. We'll take one short job there. We've got to pick that up. Was that view at the back somewhere? Oh no, there it is. Gonna have to turn around. There's not a lot of room. Okay. This is the latest truck that they've added. There's only actually 3 trucks in the game as well. There's 2 Kenworths and a Peterbilt. This is the latest one. It's the Kenworth 9. Is it W900? Which is the old style Kenworth, which I really, really like. Turning circle is crap, mind, and visibility for reversing is not great either. But yeah, you can kind of bypass that because it's such a nice truck, and a nice sound to it as well. It's got a right rumble when you're driving. I'm hoping that's gonna show through as we're going. So we turn her around, we get her hooked up. There we go. Now normally I'd look out the window to back it up, but all you see is the exhaust. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to have to actually see more using the mirrors. And I've found if you just keep them out of view, so you actually can't see them, just on the edge. There we go. That should line it up just right. There we go. That's attached, and then off we go. Also, the guys who are doing the multiplayer, because this is on multiplayer as well. I think it's released a little after, maybe a week. It wasn't. I don't even think it was a week. I think these guys seem to be really on the ball. When I first done the first video I done for Euro Trucks multiplayer, they were a fair 3 months behind because they just released the Going East expansion, which was Poland and that, and in order to play on the multiplayer they didn't have that expansion, so you had to revert your game back, which meant signing into the beta and all that malarkey. Well, you don't have to do that anymore. They're on the ball. As soon as there's a patch for Euro Trucks 2, there's a patch for the multiplayer, and the same for this the American Simulator. As soon as this Kenworth was released into the game, you downloaded that from Steam, it updated it. I activated the multiplayer and it downloaded, I had to re-download a patch for that as well, so they are very much on the ball now. And I would imagine that SCS maybe are giving them beta access to some of the games like before release, so they can get a head start on it and get it up and running, because they really do seem to be on the ball. Now, we're going over that bridge. It's not the Golden Gate. I don't know what bridge that is. I mean, but it's a very nice bridge. It's 2-tier. I mean, the Golden Gate, it's called the Golden Gate, isn't it? But it's not actually gold, it's red. But that's at the other end of town. And when we're heading north out of town, we're heading south out of San Francisco, so we're going to be taking that bridge, which is a very nice bridge in actual fact. Yeah, it's 2-tier. We ride, I think coming out of town we're underneath, and if you're coming into town you're on the top of the bridge. And it's very nice. So you get planes and that fly buzzing the bridge and all sorts. It's very nice. They've really put a lot into this. There are subtle differences in this between this and Euro Trucks, considering on the same engine. They've obviously tweaked a few bits. In Euro Trucks, you generally had to be beware of speed cameras. I don't know that there is speed cameras in this town. There might be the odd one. I do seem to, a couple of towns that I've gone buzzing through, out in Nevada, and I've got a ticket and I haven't seen a police officer. You normally see them parked at the side of the road, or they're driving around, so they can sneak up on you at any time and give you a blinking ticket if you're speeding. So not so much, you don't have to worry about it so much on the multiplayer, but you do have to worry about it on the single player like we're in at the minute. So we have to be very mindful of the speed, otherwise, because the fines are very expensive. I think they're about $1,000, where they were $1,400. They reduced, I think it's about $1,000. It might even be less than that, but they used to be $1,400 a fine. And yeah, when you're starting out, that's quite hefty. When you get jobs for $3,000, you're losing half of it to. When you first start, you don't even get jobs for $3,000 a year, but yeah, you can lose a massive chunk through speeding and also jumping the lights, so you've got to be careful of that. But you can do, on the lights, you can, because it's in America, isn't it? You can go right on a red. Make sure you've got your indicator on. If you don't have your indicator on, the game doesn't seem to know that's what you're doing, and it gives you a ticket, so always make sure you've got your indicator on. I don't think you have to actually come to a complete stop to do it. It just has to be safe for you to pull out. A few times I've done it where most of the time I stop, just come to a stop, just to let it know with my indicator on, and then pull out. But a few times I'm sure I've just driven through it, not like at speed, but very cautiously. And then it's been clear, the indicator has been on, so I've turned and got away with it. I say got away with it. You're supposed to be able to do it. It's not about getting away with it, is it? So we've crossed the first portion of the bridge, which is we're in underneath, then it brings us up to the top, I suppose, to join, so that we can sweep down and through the toll road. We haven't got to do the toll this side, you only pay when you're going over the top, for some reason. Mind you, if you go out the other end of town over the Golden Gate, you have to pay as well, so I don't know if there's actually a way up the town where you don't have to pass the toll bridge. There's quite possibly a couple of small roads leading out. Haven't actually looked, haven't paid much attention to get a look at the truck. Very much like this truck. Very dodgy driving like this, but I'm having to use the mirror to watch where the edge of the road is. Yeah, I do like that. And then that's the toll booth. Another little tweak they've added for the tolls is that there is, and in fact it's actually in the latest DLC for Euro Trucks as well, there's a quick, where you just drive through, there's no barrier, and it just deducts the money automatically as you pass through, which we're also quite liking. Mind you, multiplayer, people tend to do that at speed, and they don't always make it. Sometimes they misjudge it completely, and then they seem to come to a complete stop, and then they disappear because they've had to do the recovery, and they end up at the nearest repair station. Yeah, you see that a fair bit. There's an awful lot of speeding in the multiplayer. But you know, it's multiplayer. You're going to get that. But there are a few other, because what used to happen as well in multiplayer, I mean, if you got hit by a truck, essentially there was like no gravity to your ship, so you should just go your truck, so you just go flying off. Whereas now that doesn't happen. Your truck actually seems to have substance. It seems to be on the road. So when you hit, you connect. If you get caught, I had a guy come hurtling around a corner, just clipped me and just tipped my trailer up onto two wheels, and then it rocked back down onto it. Took bloody damage because I was moving. But if you're not moving, then and you get, I got rams. Just I might even tag that on the end of this video actually, because it was funny. But the guy came, and it was so blatant as well. I was sitting at the lights waiting to pull out. I saw him coming, and I thought, I'll let him go, and then he just veered off straight into me. I got absolutely no damage because I was stationary, but he didn't move again, and I see him teleport to the nearest repair station, which was also revealed on the map, so I saw him disappear from one and then reappear at the other. So that's very nice as well, little tweaks like that, which is very, very much been needed on the multiplayer. And, yeah, those guys really are on the ball with that, and it's a lot more enjoyable to play. I mean, it was always enjoyable before, but sometimes if you got trolled, it was a nightmare. Taking damage was just ridiculous, because it'd hit you and it'd actually hit you off the road, so even if you could still continue, you couldn't get back onto the road because you was on the other side of, say, like the barrier we've got to the right of this road. It was like you might be on the other side of it, because it really would launch you into the air, where that doesn't seem to happen anymore. And they seem to have found a way of, if you smash into someone at speed, it seems to be your fault. whereas if you're running at below the speed, it seems to be shared out more equally, which is a lot better. Okay, so we're here. Let's pull into the compound and get the delivery dropped off. It's in a farm, so where have we got to put it? Let's have a look on the map. It's over at the far corner. At least I don't think we have to back it into a shed, do we? Or do we? Yeah, there's a lot more choice on how you do the jobs now. I've pretty much got it set to whatever parking gives me the most experience. Is pretty much what I'm going for. But you can do that in the options. You can do it manually. By default, it would be manual. So you'll pull up to the gate, you'll go on the marker, and then you'll choose how you want to park it. There'll be I think there's 3 options, and each one is worth different experience. There's the tricky one, which is worth more experience, and then there's one which is worth, I think it's half that. And you might just have to drive it onto a slot, and then the last one where you just pretty much hand the truck over to them, and they put it in position, and then you get back in the truck, that kind of thing. So you've got to try and keep this straight, which means keeping the trailer out of view of the exhausts. That means I'm going straight. Let's see the trailer just a little bit. There we go. I think we're on it. Okay, let's straighten her up. So let's get it invisible, not invisible, but unseen, hidden even. That's it, we should be okay with that. A bit further. No, there it is. Okay, we'll take that. Yeah, down beside the sheds. You get to reverse inside sheds into very tight spots with some of the. It's not as straightforward as Euro Trucks, a bit more straightforward. I mean, you still have to reverse it between trailers and stuff. It was still tricky, but a lot more tricky than this. Right, let's have a quick look at the skills. See, yeah, long distance. I've only got 3 in long distance, and now I'm pretty much going to ignore that until some DLC gets released, because that will get me from one end of the map to the other. So there's you don't need to go any further than that at the moment. So, as promised, let's go and have a look at the worst result I've seen of trolling so far. I don't even think it was trolling, really. I think he's probably just had a bad day. So I'm pulled up at the lights. I see the truck coming, and then it just turns in. Now, that could have been an accident. I'm not sure on what planet that would have been an accident, but I was very surprised. I just drove away. He didn't drive anywhere. If you watch the mini-map, you'll see him on there, and then he'll just disappear. He already disappeared, and then he appears up at the top. I just pretty much drive along for a little bit, and thinking, oh, that was a bit odd. And I'm still working. I didn't get any. You normally get a warning, say you've taken damage. I didn't get any of that. So I'm loving that. He took all the damage. He had to go and repair. Now he could come back at me, but he doesn't. I think he probably thought better of it. But that's pretty much as bad as it gets. And oh yeah, really crap bit in there. But that's a massive improvement. Yeah, I've got 3% damage on the truck, but I had that anyway. I think that's tyre wear. That does go anyway. That's one thing that constantly does, obviously, because you're using the tyre wear, so you're constantly getting a tiny bit of damage as you go through, and it's nothing to worry about. But the most important part is there's no damage on the trailer, which is the bit that will cost you. It will take money off the job once you get it in. Anyway, that's been American Truck Sim. I hope you enjoyed it, and happy trucking.